the news. It's everywhere. The Navy, ET is here. It's everywhere today. Are we ready? Are we moving closer to this? Can this planet actually handle this kind of news?
Well, see, just to come back to the kind of off-the-cuff remark that I made at the beginning, if the premise, to the extent that I understand it, if the premise behind disclosure is that government agencies are in contact with ETs already, then we already have a huge problem, and that is being kept from us. Because if these ETs are such advanced beings and have the welfare of humanity at stake, then it beats me why they're dealing with the thieves and liars who run the world. I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. I feel that truly evolved and spiritual beings, wherever they come from, the very last people they would want to deal with is the military-industrial complex and the politicians and the commercial interests that run our world, and for that reason I have severe problems with the whole idea. If the channel is already monopolized by the gatekeepers who monopolize so much in our world and who are constantly plunging us into violence and hatred and fear and suspicion, then I'm not sure I want to know these ETs.
Well, okay, this is what's fascinating to me, and I think for everybody else in here. If ET is spiritually advanced, as we would expect them to be, any civilization, why do we seem to be getting the fear porn card played along with these news headlines? That they're invading our airspace, that our military is threatened, that we've got to do something about this, we've got to create a space force, there's a fear element that's being played into this, and it doesn't make any sense.
I have to say that's completely minor by comparison with the fear element that is being injected into the relationships between human beings.
That's right.
Between
Yes.
You know, I mean, the fear element that's being directed into the ET contact is just tiny by comparison with the horrific miasma of fear and hatred and suspicion that our political classes are generating in the world and seeking to create these illusionary divisions among human beings and trying to persuade us to forget that we are not all members of, that we are in fact all members of one family.
We're all Earthlings, right.
We're being persuaded, we're being persuaded to focus on very narrow issues. I mean, for example, the color of our skin. I can't understand why anybody would be proud of the color of their skin. The color of our skin is something that we're born with. It's like being proud of our knees or being proud of the length of our colon, you know. I mean, it's just completely trivial and unimportant. And unnecessary, and these kind of divisions that, you know, us and them is constantly being beamed out into the world through 24-hour rolling misery that we call news, you know, and actually so I guess that's why I find technologies like DMT very interesting, and I suspect that's one of the reasons why our governments try to keep them illegal and seek to demonize these substances, because it seems to me at least possible that DMT may be a means for direct democratic contact with these entities and with these beings without the intervention of governmental powers in the middle. I had the privilege just a couple of weeks ago of interviewing on stage Dr. Rick Strassman, who, this was in Sedona. Rick Strassman is the author of DMT, The Spirit Molecule. And DMT, The Spirit Molecule is an incredibly important book. Rick is a psychiatrist at the University of New Mexico, and he did the first human trials with DMT and human volunteers back in the 1990s. And one of the Well, there were many fascinating aspects of that research, but one of the fascinating aspects was the way that many of the volunteers would come back and say that they had encountered entities who basically said to them, "We're so glad you've discovered this technology, DMT. Now we can communicate with you much more easily." And I would like to see, whether through DMT or through meditation or through other ways of achieving altered states of consciousness, I would like to see direct contact with these entities, whatever they are, and I would like to see our governments and our big corporations and the news media kept out of the picture entirely, completely out of the picture. They're just going to mess everything up.